They dumped 2 million tires into the ocean, and the consequences that followed left the entire world stunned. In the flow of history, the relentless efforts to protect the ocean have always been regarded as noble acts, brimming with hope and creativity. But few know that in 1972, in the open waters off Fort Lauderdale, Florida, a seemingly well-intentioned plan inadvertently unleashed an environmental disaster that lasted half a century. Specifically, a local nonprofit organization created an artificial reef by dumping over 2 million tires into the coastal waters, with the goal of creating a living environment for marine species to thrive. But instead of solving the problem, this plan created an underwater nightmare, the Osborne Reef. Once hailed as a new hope for the ocean, it has now become a symbol of a catastrophic failure. And the truth of what happened left the entire world stunned and in disbelief. Under the brilliant sunshine of the open sea, the deep blue water was suddenly churned by the roar of a boat engine from afar. And the first tires began to be lowered into the sea. On the deck, Captain Myrobert stood observing with a look of immense pride, for he believed that he and his crew were carrying out a great mission. A meaningful action today will be a beautiful legacy for future generations. Rongmai's laughter gradually rose, brimming with excitement. That's amazing. We are building an ocean kingdom together, so get ready for the wonderful things to come. This idea immediately showed great promise, as it not only helped process waste but also created additional habitats for marine life. The government also recognized its immense potential and licensed the project's implementation. However, no one could have foreseen that their actions would soon turn into a horrific ecological disaster. For months on end, large barges and specialized ships have been constantly plying the open seas, tirelessly transporting millions of massive tires from the mainland out to sea. On the deck, the cranes worked incessantly, lifting cargo containers from the port onto the ship and then transferring them from the ship down to the barges. At the bottom of the ocean, skilled divers are patiently arranging each tire. Meanwhile, on the water's surface, machinery continued to tighten its grip on them with sturdy ropes and metal clamps. Step by step, a massive artificial coral reef gradually takes shape, bringing hope for a new home to marine creatures. After many months, more than 2 million tires still lie motionless on the ocean floor. Spanning an area equivalent to 35 football fields, this place is called the Osborne Reef. The first signs of optimism gradually appeared, as small schools of fish began to return. Slipping through the gaps in the tire treads, a thin green film slowly spreads across the rubber surface. Anyone witnessing that scene would be convinced a new ecosystem was gradually taking shape. An ideal underwater habitat is gradually being restored. However, after a while, things did not go as we had expected. The once dazzling and majestic sight was nowhere to be found. All that remained was a desolate and anxious scene. The powerful ocean current, along with the relentless waves crashing ashore, has gradually caused the coral reefs to break apart. The once sturdy metal clasps were now corroded with rust, and the rope along the edge had also rotted away with the passage of time. Discarded tires drift aimlessly down to the ocean floor, inadvertently forming a massive scrapyard of waste. One day in 1990, on her 12th birthday, a young girl named Baktini was walking on the beach with her family. They discovered a strange object lying on the sand, which turned out to be a worn-out tire. Its body was completely covered in tiny marine organisms. Initially, people just thought it was a regular car tire that had washed ashore. But no one could have guessed that this was only the beginning of a far more serious problem. Later, the number of tires washing up on Florida's beaches steadily increased. At times, walking on the sand became extremely difficult because the area was piled high with old tires. People began to wonder where they came from. Meanwhile, deep on the ocean floor, a silent disaster is unfolding with freely drifting tires. And crash into coral reefs, destroying ecological structures that take hundreds of years to form. A once vibrant sea now lies in fragments, littered with lifeless, worn-out tires. Upon arriving at the scene for a direct survey, the scientists observed that the situation appeared rather unfavorable. The sight before their eyes left them utterly stunned. A researcher from Manmai University described the place as nothing short of a battlefield. Millions of tires piled up, trapped beneath rocks, and even tightly wrapped around the legs of sea turtles struggling to swim away. The area, which was expected to become a vibrant artificial space, has now turned into a dead sea. No living creature can survive there. In the early 2000s, everyone was acutely aware that immediate action was necessary. But how can we possibly collect 2 million tires lying deep on the ocean floor? This requires time, money, and most importantly, a truly feasible plan. By 2007, a new glimmer of hope had emerged in Costa America, a small state within the Federation. The tire collection campaign has been officially designated as a military training exercise. The diving team led by Jackson Jakovenko has officially begun their work. Each day, they fished out around 1,000 car tires. Amidst the rushing currents, with limited visibility and countless dangers ever lurking, they persist in their mission. Bit by bit, they are contributing to rescuing the ocean from mountains of garbage. As news of the campaign spread widely, the community began to join hands and take action. Environmental protection groups, volunteer divers, and ocean lovers have joined hands to contribute their efforts. Dive shops also regularly organize special weekend events. This area is reserved for certified divers participating in underwater tire cleanup activities under the guidance of our expert team. These activities not only help expedite the cleanup progress but also bring about many other practical benefits. In addition, it also helps raise community awareness about protecting the ocean. Many volunteers confided that after each dive to collect tires from the ocean floor, they felt a deeper connection to the sea, as if every tire retrieved was a piece of the ocean being revived. This campaign not only contributes to environmental cleanliness, but also becomes a symbol of solidarity and a sense of responsibility towards nature. However, after many months of relentless effort, people gradually realized that the volunteers' hard work was still not enough. To solve the problem thoroughly, we need a more long-term and methodical plan. Can the ocean escape these millions of tires? The battle still rages on. In 2015, the Florida Department of Environmental Protection decided to launch a large-scale cleanup campaign to remedy the consequences from the previous era. The government spent $1.6 million to hire a team of skilled divers to retrieve car tires from the deep seafloor. The job lasted over 2 years, with diligent divers working day and night on a specialized barge. Beneath the ink-black water, the tires were hauled up, imprinted with the marks of time. Barry Agosalete, the lead diver of the project, could not hide his emotions at the scene unfolding before his eyes. She shared that we are not just collecting waste, but also witnessing how nature can restore itself. Amidst a pile of seemingly discarded tires, life still finds a way to rise up, sprouting and budding. After being salvaged, this batch of vehicles was transported to Port Everglades, then onward to the Tampa area for processing. They will be incinerated to generate electricity, converting a portion of waste from previous years into a useful source of energy. However, the story has even more interesting aspects. Among the ranks of those following the campaign, one figure stood out: Captain Mike Roberts. Over 80 years old, he was one of the participants in the project of dropping tires into the sea more than half a century ago, with the hope of creating artificial coral reefs. But when things didn't go as planned, and thousands of tires became a threat to the ocean, he was tormented by guilt for years. One day, Mike approached the cleaning crew and made an offer that left everyone utterly astonished. His voice was deep and subdued, yet it carried a world of unspoken emotions. "I've been tied to this sea my whole life. Let me help you identify the most severely damaged areas." Initially, the diving team was hesitant, but in the end, they decided to give him a chance. No one could have anticipated that a captain's knowledge could be of such immense value. Thanks to his accumulated experience, he helped them accurately identify the sections of road with the deepest submerged potholes. Just like dangerous underground currents that are not immediately apparent, news of Mike's participation quickly spread. He was previously criticized for his role in causing the environmental disaster. But now, people look at him with a different gaze. The gaze reserved for someone who dares to face their mistakes and is determined to make them right. However, not everyone agrees with this viewpoint. Some environmentalists argue that this is merely a publicity stunt to obscure the real issues. On social media platforms, debates frequently erupt and spread powerfully through hashtags such as "blaming tomorrow and it's too late to fix the mistake" has become a common saying, appearing everywhere. Until one day, an unexpected event occurred, completely changing everything. During a survey, while monitoring the sonar screen, Mike discovered an area with a peculiar shape. The diving team conducted an inspection and was utterly amazed to discover a new coral colony thriving right among the old tires. This left scientists utterly astonished and raised a major question. Can we leverage artificial structures to support the ocean's recovery process? This discovery has opened up a new research direction, contributing to accelerating the recovery progress of degraded coral reefs. The campaign ended, and Mike stood in silence on the beach. His eyes blurred with emotion as he watched the last truckload of tires disappear into the distance, a lump forming in Old Man Wong Wong's throat. "I made this mistake, but fortunately, I still have a chance to make things right. Protect our oceans. They are more resilient than we imagine, yet they still desperately need our guardianship." It is hard to avoid mistakes in life, but the most important thing is to know how to correct them. And nature, no matter how wounded, always finds a way to regenerate. To cherish and hold someone dear is to truly change. When the cleanup operation was carried out, marine biologists made some truly surprising discoveries. Deep beneath the ocean's surface, where hundreds of thousands of tires were once buried, life always finds a way to survive and adapt. Dr. Ellicott from the University of Florida discovered that some marine species are using old tires as habitats. He and his colleagues observed many strange behaviors in several species of fish. Some species have even developed unique feeding methods to adapt to these harsh conditions. These findings are not only astounding but also demonstrate nature's remarkable ability to adapt to human impacts. The cleanup of the Osborne Reef quickly became a quintessential case study in environmental restoration. Scientists and conservation experts worldwide have begun to pay special attention to this project. In 2018, an international conference was once again held at Fort Blondel to discuss the lessons learned from the Osborne Reef. At the same time, it is necessary to find solutions to prevent similar disasters from happening in the future. By 2020, the cleanup efforts had achieved significant results. A large number of water hyacinths have been collected, which has significantly improved the water quality in this area. Marine life is gradually returning to seas that had been devastated for decades. However, the challenge remains as more than 500,000 tires still lie deep on the ocean floor. Many nets are buried in the sand or covered by coral, making the collection work complicated and risky. The collection teams must carefully calculate their operations to both clear the waste and ensure no harm is done to the gradually recovering ecosystem. By 2022, a significant turning point had occurred for the tech billionaire. Meanwhile, upon learning of the project, environmental activist Elena Briggs decided to support it with advanced technologies. Ascentech Solutions, founded by her, has begun testing autonomous underwater vehicles to help divers identify and collect tires more efficiently. We are combining advanced robotics technology with human skill. The AUV system is capable of mapping the seabed topography and precisely locating snail clusters. It makes the cleaning process quicker and safer. Thanks to the application of technology, more than 600,000 used tires were collected in just a few months. Now, the Osborne Reef is gradually recovering, including areas of the seabed that were previously severely polluted. The situation has shown signs of improvement as marine life has begun to return. New young coral reefs are also thriving vigorously, opening new hope for an ecosystem that had been damaged for many decades. The story of the wheel-shaped coral is certainly one that will be told and retold for many years to come. As a profound lesson on the relationship between humanity and nature, sometimes, even the best intentions can lead to unintended consequences. We can still cause unforeseeable consequences if we do not truly understand the ecosystem. Scientists are still monitoring the ocean's recovery, where some species of fish and plants are gradually reviving. But there are species that take decades to recover. Meanwhile, Captain Myro Bus, who is considered one of the initiators of this project. He was now an old man, living in a coastal nursing home. Every day, he would sit quietly on the balcony, his pensive eyes gazing toward the vast, tranquil ocean, the witness to so many pivotal decisions in his life. In a recent interview, he shared in a deeply reflective tone, "We sincerely believe we are making a positive contribution to the ocean.